Greetings, geeks, and welcome to episode 884 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob, Commander Taco Malden. Joining me, as usual, in Pretend Low Earth Orbit, we have Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
And Chris DeBona.
Good morning.
Gentlemen.
Wait.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Or good evening. I don't know where our four listeners are.
You can't even keep track of what time zone the two of us live in. And we've been in this time zone our entire lives.
It should be easy.
It should be.
Yeah.
But yet somehow you still have never managed to figure it out.
Yeah. And maybe it's, you could say it's my inherent selfishness and egotistical narcissism, my self-centeredness.
That's usually how I describe it.
But I think I transcend time.
I just think you can't minus 3.
Any number below 5 though is hard to keep track.
Yeah.
One of those it is.
Yeah. It's like the ancient peoples. They had 1, 2, and many. I'm like that about time. It's my time, your time, and the world. Whatever. Like I was encoding into a application in a Docker container.
Ooh.
The time zone, and I'm like, is it PTC or is it PDT or is it PST
or is it GMT?
Or should I just go and embrace UTC?
Yep.
There's just too many options. Yep. One time for everyone, I say. It's
and
time.
Should I change it during daylight savings time? Are we in daylight savings time? What does it mean to save daylight?
I mean,
is that like a solar panel of the mind?
Maybe with new time, it's completely dark at 3 p.m. where you are. Sorry about it. Well, you'll just have to change.
We're reaching the long days here in the Pacific Northwest,
Yeah.
So it's staying light until like 9, 10 o'clock.
It makes sense that some part of the world, their first shift would be our third shift.
Yep.
That just makes sense.
Now,
are we, as the critics say, just waiting from buying cycle to buying cycle? Are we just America's horrible limbic lizard brain when it comes to time? I don't know.
Horrible lizard limbic brain. All right. Name of our sex tape.
Well, yours.
Yeah.
You name them?
Yep.
That said, all of the excitingness is in the brain, right? We all know that.
That's true.
We're sort of like men.
Chris, let me tell you a hack though. It's
a hack.
It's -3.
Okay.
We've known you for 30 years almost now. And in that entire time, it has always been -3. You've always lived on the West Coast and we've always lived on the East Coast.
That you're the same as the East Coast. You should be like Central Time.
No, we're not Chicago. We're not filthy Chicagoans.
I know, but Chicago and you're close, man. You're driving distance.
We are on the east side of Lake Michigan.
East side.
Not in the middle of it. And
this is just the Mercator projection playing games.
Yeah, that's true. That's why you want to take Greenland, because you think it's really large.
I don't want Greenland.
And Canada, man, look how big it is.
If you don't want Greenland, I'll take it. I'll do something with Greenland.
Yeah.
You'll find something to do with the nation.
I'll do something with Greenland for sure. You don't want it.
Speaking of rare earth metals, there's no titanium in Greenland.
Yeah, I know. So I'll have to go someplace else to source
for your supply.
My artisan back screws.
Your artisan back screws. Organic small batch.
Small batch back screws.
Yeah, it's like there's a special version of a master car where it's just like it's all on like recycled paper that sort of has a brown tinge to it. And it's like for your artisan screw needs.
Yeah, they're carved by Amish CNC.
Yeah. What's that?
They're carved by Amish CNC.
Yeah, exactly. Using techniques from the old days.
From the old days, back when our CNC machines were less.
English. It looks like you need a new titanium plate for your for God's spine there.
By an Amish gentleman wielding the Infinity Gauntlet. These back
That's not a terrible analogy.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to return to simpler times when the universe was not as stressed with overpopulation.
Right.
Yeah. Or something.
You could just
if you had the Infinity Gauntlet, you could have given as opposed to have taken, but
also all that taking half of all life away does is defer things by however long it takes for the population to double, which is not that long because the infrastructure is going to still be there.
Yeah.
Maybe people will be more careful once half the population leaves.
Yeah, they'd be more careful to not mess with Thanos.
Also, he should just wiped everyone's memory too, so they forgot about it, and then it would have been fine.
Yeah. If you would have forgotten.
It's little details like that.
Forget Thanos altogether.
Hey,
Mom,
do you think Thanos needs an assistant or something?
Mom, why do we have a 3-bedroom house? 2 of the bedrooms are like completely empty but fully furnished.
No.
I don't know.
Thanos is cruel enough. He wants everyone to remember and be warned that if they breed too much, it'll happen again. But he should have removed the memory of himself from the universe.
The Thunderbolts comes out this weekend, and that was part of why I wanted to make sure we scheduled this conversation this morning, because if we weren't going to podcast this morning, I was going to go see Thunderbolts. So
I admit everyone in the Thunderbolts, I'm assuming that the new Captain America is not in it. It's like the crappy diet Timu.
It's Captain America, not
I kind of like everyone in the Thunderbolts. I hope it doesn't suck. But I think it's
it was getting good reviews.
Yeah, the reviews are as positive as they have been for a Marvel movie in a very long time.
I mean, I think it's going to be one of the ones I would like to see.
I will see it on Monday if we don't podcast, and I will see it on Tuesday if we do.
No, I think we should on Monday.
That's my schedule.
And I'll try to do it early so you can go and see the Pug. And
the only movie I get, the only time that works for me on Monday is 10 a.m., which, Chris, to you, -3, 7 a.m.
So I have to drop my car off. So I was waiting at the ferry. And
all good Chris stories start at the ferry.
I was waiting for the ferry. So I like the ferry. So I don't have a day-to-day job in Seattle. So every time I get on the ferry, it's exciting. It's
special.
Right? It's fun. I'm sitting there. I think I told you guys about this, but I didn't tell the podcast listeners.
You didn't tell
I'm just sitting there, minding my own business, listening to my audiobook series, Dungeon Crawler Carl. And bam, 92 Ford F-250 just hits me as I'm waiting there peacefully in the ferry parking lot. Rear end. And I'm like, dang, that sucks. And so I was going to get out of my car, and instead of him backing up, he accelerates into me. And I'm like, is he done? I don't know if he's done. And so I get out of the car, and when I thought he was done, and he's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I meant to hit the brake and stop, but I hit the gas again. I didn't mean to. You didn't hit the guy in front of you, right? I'm like, no, I didn't hit the guy in front of me. It's all okay. And he was older, much older. And so it was one of those things where I have no idea why I'm on the story. Oh,
because the ferry's fun.
I'm the car for repair.
And because Thanos could have snapped that guy.
You know, Thanos didn't do it by age. He didn't do it by utility. He didn't do it by, potential.
No, he actually had Doge take care of it.
I mean, that said, he said that if I were to do it, I'm going to make sure I get you guys or whatever, later on.
Yeah.
In the game. I'm like, well, Thanos, you're being a little inconsistent,
Yeah.
If you're going to bring that level of creativity, why don't you just make them forget you ever existed and just do it,
Right.
And he had that need to monologue. If he hadn't been monologuing, he could have just,
monologuing gets us all. Thanos has a story about a fairy that he wants to tell.
True. The narcissism, the self-centeredness of these.
That's right. He can't subtract 3 either. Are you Thanos, Chris?
I'm not. Well, aren't we all Thanos?
In our own way.
Or inner Thanos.
You'd let out your inner Thanos.
There's got to be a time where you've thought, this is how we know things like the Infinity Stones and psychic powers, psionic abilities, they just don't exist, because think of the people who wouldn't be around.
Yeah.
Right. I do a snap at least 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Never works. So.
Yeah. I mean, like every time you look at the news, I'm like, that guy's only alive because nobody's got.
I load Reddit and just start snapping like I'm listening to jazz. But
I mean, this is like it's sort of the paradox, the time travel paradox thing. It's like there's no psychic powers because as a society we are still here.
Yep.
There's just no world where that's going to happen.
Yeah. If magic was real, somebody would have figured out a way. Well, wait, that might explain some stuff.
What stuff? Mr. Magic Believer.
Well, Doge. But I mean, they fixed it. They fixed everything now, so we're cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. So he can go back to just working on Tesla, and everyone's going to go back to buying Teslas
Yeah.
like nothing ever happened.
Their stock won't be down like 1,000,000%.
Oh.
Yeah, everything is just clean slate, just a redo.
Yeah, clean slate, especially in Germany. Yeah, and in Europe, you know, there's going to be no problem.
Yep.
No problem. And China too.
They're cool with Führer's over there.
Cool now. He left, so it's all clean. Slate's clean, yeah.
All right. Hey, we got a story about a kid who went to Mount Fuji and got lost twice in 1 week. Is this yours, Rob?
Yeah. So they had to get this guy. He went off trail and they had to go get him, but he forgot his phone.
Okay.
So he went back to try to retrace his steps and get his phone. And what do you know? Whoops, this is always happening. I'm lost on Mount Fuji again. Come get me.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's a pretty mountain. I mean, if you're going to lose your phone somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I'm not going to go walk on Mount Fuji.
I mean, it's not like someone stole their phone in a Target parking lot or something. You know, it's Mount Fuji. You know, it's going to be there.
It's nice.
It's fine, you know,
it's really big.
I mean, look at that thing. I feel like I'm playing a Jordan Mechner video game.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Oh wait, I see the phone.
Oh, cool. You want to walk up there and get lost?
It's that little smudge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pixel peeping man for the win.
I don't know.
It looks way different up close, but
did he get charged like money? That's my question. You know.
I don't remember them saying if he, you know, they trespassed him from Mount Fuji or exactly what they did.
Well, there's going to be a fee introduced this summer. So one of the stories. So Franny, my kid, she just finished the Camino Trail from Portugal to Spain, and she did it early in the year, so it wasn't bad, right? But apparently, like everywhere in Europe, especially during the actual vacation times, it's getting kind of crazy, you know? And so like people are already planning their summer tourist protests in Lisbon and in the rest. And I've been to these countries during the prime months. It's literally insane, the number of people in these narrow little cow trail streets. It's and I used to think, and I still sort of think, is this just like a COVID holdover and hangover? Like people are trying to get in the travel they weren't able to do. But it's been 5 years, 4 years. So yeah, it's really something. There's a lot of people, maybe, and just stick with me here. Maybe Thanos had something going on.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where all the people went when he unsnapped.
Yeah. Right.
So, oh, the trail. That would be a hell of a thing, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Snapped and you don't go anywhere. You just end up in a queue.
Oh,
just
man.
waiting. Oh.
Where, all the hostels along the trail are like, oh, we don't have room for twice as many people. This is crazy.
We didn't have room for the half as many people. We got a dude.
How did this happen? Nobody remembers Thanos this time. Remember?
Right. Suddenly, and then I guess you wouldn't remember all these people that just reappeared. So suddenly there would just be people that like wanted to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a story about a dude who bought a shipwreck for $400.
Yeah, these things always end the same way, and then a couple of years later, if even that long, he regrets it completely. So
I mean, just even a modern boat is a money sink. Imagine trying to, make this one good again.
Merchant ship built in 1896. It's already in the water, at least. He's got that going for him.
I could even have the steel to recycle.
See, look.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hull repair.
I mean, it's in pieces, right? I mean,
I don't understand how after hundreds of years of being underwater, like somebody still owns it. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like at some point.
Depending on where it sank around the British Islands, it's either owned by the current Prince of Wales or, so it depends on which part, So if for in Plymouth is typically the space of the Prince of Wales.
I'm just saying, even Mickey Mouse eventually ends up in the public domain. It seems like World War I shipwrecks.
No.
I mean, like I've been shopping to make sure that I have everything I need for, just my pontoon boat. But this guy, to get all the life jackets he would need for that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's life jackets alone are going to break him.
Yeah. And that's before you even figure out where you find a crane to lift it.
Oh, right.
It's like, that YouTuber who bought the silver mine in California, and he started doing a lot of content of exploring it and look at these genes I found and all the rest. The thing is, if you look into the original claims, not important as to why I do these things. If you look into the original claims for that land, for that mine claim, it's actually a silver and lead mine.
Oh, good.
So you're watching this thing, and there's little particles floating in the air, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's all lead.
Can't wear a mask.
All those
for content.
piles of gray rock. I'm like, yeah, that's all lead. Yeah,
it'll be
fine. I
fine.
don't want to hang out there that much.
I bet though, if this guy like sunk down stuff down with it to make it more interesting to dive, he could make a business.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean that's the idea, right? Yeah.
Oh, he's not going to get it up and take it on fishing tours?
When we lived in the Sierras, there would be those guys who had the mule and the panning rigs, and they still had gold fever, and they were just going along the creek beds and panning. And they were always like rangy looking and all the rest. And I'm like, I get that this is a fun life, but
Magnum says he's going to be climbing Mount Fuji this summer. If you find the phone,
yeah, it should look for some phones.
Let us know.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. What? I just closed the window that had my stories.
Amazon launches the first 27 Project Kuiper satellite.
What is Project Kuiper? I don't actually know, Chris.
It's a competitor for Starlink. So before you ask, they launched it on a United Launch Alliance. I think a Delta 5 or Delta Heavy. So
I figured they just put it like in Katy Perry's trunk.
Well, the New Shepard doesn't go high enough.
I'm well aware. The New Shepard only goes high enough to make celebrities go up.
But I'm actually in favor of adding like a kilometer to the Karma line, doubling the Karma line in some amount of time.
I'd be cool with us just not calling you an astronaut unless you're up there like for your job, like to do astronaut things, and not just like that seems like a reasonable line. It's like, I'm not a fighter pilot, or I'm not a pilot just because I'm in the airplane.
Oh, speaking of which, I got to show you the thing.
Well, speaking of airplanes, we've got just a stupid one. There was a plane that got diverted because somebody got an iPad stuck in the seat and the battery started swelling. Yeah. So they had to land the plane.
Did the battery start swelling, or was it just stuck in the seat?
The article says that the battery was swelling.
Yeah.
And I don't think an iPad battery exploding is going to take down a plane, but it
has caused fires though. I mean, it's usually not an iPad though. So
it's not like 8 ounces of fluid or anything like that.
No.
So
the thing about lighting that up,
you got to put your 8 ounces of fluid into 8 1-ounce containers, and then it's safe. Everybody knows. We also have a really good one about legal letterhead, or legal with a dragon watermark.
I loved this.
That story is funny.
God, it's funny.
Although I did have a question.
Yes.
Are legal documents allowed to have like legal letterhead like normally?
So yes.
And are they allowed to have watermarks normally?
I don't know how to answer that. I know for the Supreme Court, the answer is no. You have to rigidly apply to their standards, unless you're a prisoner or a non-lawyer, in which case they have slightly relaxed standards for those people. But if you're a bar attorney, you have to stick to the format, right? But again, that's for the federal courts, right?
I can't remember ever seeing any legal document that had a watermark.
Right.
I've seen like crests or whatever, like corporate logos in the corner. So
sure, but not in filings though. Usually,
I would think that like a subtle watermark, like somewhere distinctive on the page, but not.
Well, this is my question. Is the objection to the existence of a watermark, or is this a judgment of taste about the nature of the silliness of the watermark?
Well, I mean,
I think it's probably both.
Didn't look into it enough. So it is further ordered that the plaintiff shall not file any documents with the cartoon dragon or other inappropriate content.
Because that's the thing, is like, if you can have a watermark with, your logo for, Roseboom, DeBona, and Malda attorneys at law, then you should be allowed to have a silly dragon.
Like, I mean, 3 of it could be in the back, like in that sort of like used car.
Also, I think at this point, it's only fair I let you guys know I never passed the bar exam.
Oh.
So
You've been billing full rates too.
You know, according to the Air Bud rules, you could be in the Supreme Court.
Air Bud rules.
I mean, I didn't say anything before because we were in space, and you know, space law is different.
Yeah, none of us have space degrees.
It's like a version of maritime law, is my understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I'm also a surgeon in space, so
yeah, a rocket surgeon.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was only in it for the paralegals.
Mm.
I don't know. Or are we just taking it further?
I don't care.
Okay. So you know, it'd be funny if this was like a known furry law firm, or so it's in East Lansing, Michigan. I mean, you guys should know.
We should
go. Is it?
These guys? Yeah.
It's in Michigan,
it is.
Yeah. So
road trip.
Nice.
Dragon Lawyers, PC.
Hey, Chris, what time zone do you think Lansing is in?
Oh, that's probably Mountain Time.
Yeah. You got it.
You got
figured
it
out. That's minus 73.6
time, right?
Well, it's different because it's the capital, and all the capitals are in the same time zone to keep things easy.
Yeah.
Oh, right. They're all in equatorial, equidistant time.
Yeah, they're in Doge time.
Yeah.
All capitals exist in GMT
for government efficiency.
All
All capitals
government management time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All government function will be held in Doge time.
Well, you know, that's why Delaware is in BST, which isn't British summertime. I know you think it is. It's business sex time. So yeah,
business sex
time, like the song from the Flight of the Conchords. It's business.
It's
time.
business time. Oh, yeah. I know it's business time when you put on your dirty work T-shirt and it's Wednesday. It's time for bed. Sorry, I love that song. That was all we had on the list. Do we have any media? I have one movie to note.
What's your noted movie?
I watched a movie last night called Borderline. It stars Samara Weaving and Ray Nicholson.
The boys were talking about it in Red Letter Media.
It's pretty good, but it doesn't quite like it's one of those movies where the parts are great and then the movie doesn't quite add up. Nicholson's performance is Looney Tunes crazy.
Okay.
And like just so the premise is that he's I guess an escaped mental patient, and he's stalking Samara Weaving, who is a thinly veiled Madonna. And she is literally dating a guy who is a thinly veiled Dennis Rodman. And the movie is set in like the mid 90s when that sort of thing was probably like that was a news story. Well, that was in the news, right? That Madonna was dating Dennis Rodman for a while. And so it's like kind of that, but then the story is like her bodyguard and she lives alone in a mansion, and this guy shows up with his mental patient friends. And like,
as one does.
Yeah. There is some really good, there's a couple of really good like kill parts. It's mostly just so weird, and it's mostly just weird watching Nicholson's performance. He is so unhinged. It's worth watching just for his thing, even though the movie is kind of like whatever. But I really enjoyed it. But it's not a good movie in any sense.
Yeah.
We're checking out Death of a Unicorn this week.
Oh, that's out. Is that on streaming now?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But I haven't heard anything about it other than I know what the plot is.
I listened to I have a couple of movie podcasts, and I've heard their review, and it's not. It's disappointing. Because the premise is good.
When you mentioned Borderline, I knew about the Red Letter Media talk about it, but there's a mockumentary, office-style mockumentary called Borderline.
Okay.
And it's narrated by the second Doctor, the 10th Doctor Who, David Tennant.
Okay.
And it's honestly one of the funniest things. It's about border security at a fictional like Stansted or Gatwick Airport. It's very funny. So I would recommend it.
Magnum is mentioning the movie Conclave as being a movie where the parts didn't add up. And I thought the movie Conclave, the parts were so good. I thought the movie was great. I enjoyed that movie tremendously. It was one of my favorites. But also really weird. And like powerhouse performance-y type thing.
Imagine if it was Clive, about a
Clive
con man named Clive, played by Clive Owen.
All right. I'm in.
Who becomes Pope because of the Air Bud rule.
Oh, the Air Bud rule.
Yes.
I watched the second
Amber
story
Langer
arc.
doesn't know what to do because there's nothing written in the Vatican law that says that Clive Owen can't become pope.
Or that you can't use Air Bud rules.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't explicitly exclude Air Bud rules, then they apply.
Then they apply. That's international law.
We're the Catholic Church.
Yeah. I'm glad none of us passed the bar.
Yeah. Or is there like a Catholic Church lawyer bar where you're able to? It's like a Jesuit where really
they're really booked defending rapists.
Yeah. Boy, that's screwed up there. So
because when you're in the Catholic Church, it's not a sin if you're a priest. It's fine. We just transfer you to another department as Jesus intended.
I mean, like, it makes indulgences look tame.
Like, indulgences are like on par with paying psychics to predict your future. That's like that level of crime.
Well,
yeah, you're lying, but
paying the church to be absolved of their sins, right? That was the classic indulgence scam.
Yep.
And was it Pope Innocent? Ironically, who was the one who was? I don't know. I was technically baptized Catholic.
That means you're saved, Chris. You're fine.
Yeah, am I? And
would you like to confess your sins to me
after communion? So
yeah, alleged rapist, Magnum. Technically alleged, except for the ones that were convicted.
One of the temp jobs I took as a kid, because I could work a spreadsheet, was and this was in Fairfax County or for the federal government. I don't even remember who it was for, but it was through a temp agency. I was collating child abuse statistics.
Oh God.
Jeez. Yeah.
As you do.
And I'm like 20 years old, right? And I'm just like, I think it was for Fairfax County. I was like, holy crap. Yeah. And later on I would be doing it for like all the counties and
you don't want to look too close because once you realize what's under the hood, it's pretty sad.
It's bad, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? I admit I have a dim view of people in general as a result. So,
and that job probably doesn't make that any brighter.
Well, I mean, it definitely brings a lens up on some of the worst people.
Yeah. So. Hey, the second story arc of Andor came out and was really good this week. You should be watching
Speaking
that.
Of child abuse,
dude.
I haven't seen Andor. I don't know. Is it like the Conclave where it's just about priests getting in trouble?
There was a bit of assault in the first story arc of Andor this season. It was pretty grim. This story arc ended with like a really great sequence where like one horrible thing happens and one like piece of really sweet vengeance happens, and you're just like you're reeling from this sadness as you like, I want to pump my fist so bad with happiness. I'm conflicted. Any other media worth watching, gentlemen?
Mr. Roseboom?
Because I think one of us had a hard stop.
I assume so, but I'm not aware of what that media might be.
So I have a question for you, Rose. I mean, and you could say, not for the podcast, but after your recent surgical procedures, did you get a video of it? Because I got a USB key with the video of my shoulder work.
No, I got all my old MRIs and the new ones. Though.
Okay. So, but you didn't get any full motion video.
No. It was like 4 hours, so that's it's a long one to watch.
You have to fill up like 3 keys.
Yeah.
Or compress it down to 240p.
And at that point, I don't want to watch it unless I really believe I'm there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they should record it with 2 cameras for VR, So,
right.
Yeah. If it ain't 3D, how are you going to project that on IMAX?
No.
I mean, maybe a camera on my forehead because I don't remember it, to tell you the truth. So it'd be nice to see what I was seeing, what I was taking in.
Doing this for 2 hours, as they're looking at you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Let's say goodbye to Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
And also goodbye to Chris DeBona.
Goodbye, Chris. Oh, wait. Goodbye, Rob.
That's you. That was episode 884 of Geeks in Space. I was Rob Commander Takamalda, and we will see you all some other time. Bye-bye.